we'll just get going. So yeah, welcome to our fifth, I can't believe it's our fifth one, plant-based cooking in schools online workshop. So for October, I'm Colette Fox and I work on the School Plates programme with Lisa, who's going to be cooking with you today. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about ProVeg and why we're here and what we do, and then we'll cut to Lisa to get going with the cooking. So yeah, we are ProVeg UK. We run this program called School Plates, and we're part of a much bigger global organisation called ProVeg International. You can just see here on this slide, we have 10 teams working across 4 continents, and the staff in those teams come from nearly 50 countries around the world. So we're very international. And our mission as a global organisation is to reduce the global consumption of animals by 50% by the year 2040. And we strive for a world where everyone chooses delicious and healthy food that is good for all humans, animals, and the planet. So who do we work with here in the UK with School Plates? So we're currently supporting 35 major catering partners, mostly in England, some in Wales, and our first few in Scotland. And that includes 29 local authorities that we're working with. And that amounts to over 3,500 schools that are all benefiting from healthier and more sustainable menus that we advise on, which is about 580,000 children eating from these menus every day. So, and our aims with School Plates are very simple. So we want to make school food, firstly, healthier, and secondly, more sustainable. So it's better for the planet, and we're reducing the carbon. And the third aim, which isn't the main thing we're here for, but is saving money. What actually happens by taking the steps that we advise are that it saves our partners money. So that's a kind of really nice extra benefit. And yeah, looking at the climate, everything we do with the programme is evidence-based. So it's not just us telling you to do this or advising to do it. This is all coming from the latest evidence that's out there. So one of the sources we look to are the Climate Change Committee. So these are the government's independent climate advisors, and they produce a carbon budget. The last one was the 6th carbon budget, and in that their advice to local authorities was to offer a fully plant-based option every day and to ensure that all their staff are trained in vegan and vegetarian cooking. So this is the advice that we're being given, and this is what we're here to help you to do. So to get those options in and to help you with the training. So this is just a little slide to show you make it a bit clearer what the impact is of food on emissions and the climate. So we've done some analysis. Basically, Lisa and I look at hundreds of menus from across the UK or every day of the week. So we've done some analysis. We've run the carbon stats for all the typical, most common meat-based dishes that we see, things like spaghetti bolognese, lasagnas, sausages and mash, all these kind of really common dishes. And then we've done the same with all the really popular vegetarian dishes, all the mac and cheese, the margarita pizzas, these sorts of things. And then we've done the same with our plant-based recipes, and we've taken an average. So you can see from this that our plant-based dishes are actually just over a quarter of the carbon dioxide emissions compared to a typical meat-based primary school dish, and they're about half the emissions of a typical vegetarian dish. So it makes a massive difference. If anyone's in any doubt as to the impact of food, I hope this clarifies that. And here's another comparison. Again, we've got this in both of our free brochures, which you can download. We'll tell you a bit more about those in a second. But again, we've just done a little comparison of a typical spaghetti bolognese, really common dish that we see on menus. Again, the first one is made with beef mince, and the second one, the plant-based version, we've taken out the beef and we've replaced it with 50% lentils and 50% soya mince. And we've just compared it on some of the things that you might be interested in. So on cost, the plant-based version is 27% cheaper. It's also 87% lower in saturated fat. It contains more than double the fibre, and it emits less than a third of the carbon emissions. And also, interestingly, one thing we get asked a lot is about protein and where, you know, will these dishes have enough protein? Well, Lisa and I both have a lot of knowledge in nutrition. So yeah, we've run all the stats on all of our recipes, and you can see from this one, there's 1 gram difference per portion. So they're both very high in protein. The beef one, as you would expect, but actually the plant-based one has 16 grams per portion. So it's packed with protein as well. And the second, one of the second reasons I mentioned, one of our aims is for children's health. So we know that we have an obesity crisis. I mean, this is a global crisis, but for just in the UK, 10% of children starting school for the first time are obese. And by the time they get to age 10, that number has doubled to over 20%. And actually, if you look at children that are overweight as well, it's actually over a third of children aged 10 in England are obese or overweight. So it's pretty shocking. And plant-based food helps to lower the risk of being overweight and obese. So it's a really positive move for children's health. It also helps to lower the risk of getting chronic diseases. So things like, you know, having a stroke, heart attack, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, certain cancers, all of these things can be reduced, the risk of getting them, by eating more plant-based foods. And it comes down to the amount of fiber that's in these foods, and having that giving us a healthy gut microbiome, which helps us to have better immunity and to fight off these different infections and diseases. And the plant-based foods are also just packed with loads of nutrients and fiber. And just really important to point out that you only get fiber from plant foods. You don't get it from anything else. So it's one thing that typically we are deficient in fiber. We don't get enough of it every day, both children and adults. So the way to increase that and give yourself a healthy gut is to eat more plant foods. Just a quick slide on the free support that we offer. Everything we do is free. We're essentially kind of menu and you know, food training consultants, but we do it for free. So we have 2 free resources, the guide and the recipes. If you haven't seen them on our website yet, do go to proveg.com, and you can just scroll down the page and you can download both of those for free. We offer free menu review. If you send in your menus to us, we will go through those, let you know what looks good about them and things that you might want to consider tweaking. We also help with introducing meat-free days, or if you have a meat-free day already, turning those into a more positive message and having something like a Save the Planet Day. So we can help with that too. We also help with increasing the plant-based options on your menus, and also recipe development. So something we're going to ask you about today. If you have any recipes that you would like to see that we haven't already created, Lisa will be creating some new recipes shortly. So get your requests in and we will look to create those for you. It isn't always completely plain sailing. So if you have any barriers internally, or if when you put some changes out, you might get some negative feedback here and there. Mostly it all goes smoothly, but occasionally not. So again, we're here to help with any support you need along the way and communicating that. You're here today at one of our online workshops, which are primarily aimed at individual schools, but we also run in-person workshops. So if you're here from either a multi-academy trust, where you have several schools within your group, or you're part of a local authority, we also offer in-person workshops where we come out to you and we give we share some of this knowledge that we have about health and sustainability, and we cook. We get your caterers in the kitchen cooking the recipes and trying them all. And our next online workshop is on the 23rd of November. So we'll be popping up the link to register for that if you haven't already. And we have a School Plates award scheme, which will be launching in November. I'm excited to announce we're almost there, and we'll be letting you know about that as soon as we're ready. Here are our 2 free brochures that I mentioned, and that is the lovely Chris Packham holding them in his ProVeg t-shirt. Chris has just become an ambassador for our School Plates programme, which we're delighted to announce. And if you have a look on our YouTube channel, you can see some videos he's made for us about the programme. But yeah, we just encouraging you to download those brochures. And we have a monthly newsletter, which is free. If you scan the QR code that's on the screen, it takes you straight through to the page to sign up for that newsletter. It goes out the first week of every month, and it just lets you know what we're up to. If there's anything interesting happening near you, we've put recipes in there. So hopefully it's a useful resource to get ideas and inspiration. And just finally, these are our all our social media handles and our website and our email address. If you want to get in touch, or if you have questions or thoughts, do drop us a line. And again, this is being recorded, and you'll be able to grab all of this information from our YouTube channel. I'm going to stop and hand back over to Lisa, who will get cooking with you. All desserts today.
Yes, thanks, Colette. And I've got a sweet tooth, so this is very good. Or is it? Because I've got all these desserts to eat afterwards. Oh well, someone's got to do it. So welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Maybe this is your first time. Hello. Maybe you've been with us before. Thank you so much for returning. And you can also obviously look at past workshops online. So we're going to start with the crunchy crumble with summer fruits and raspberry ripple yogurt. As Colette mentioned, you can download our brochure and it's got all the information in there, but this is the recipe on the screen for you. So we'll just run through it. So for the crumble topping, it's oats, oil and sugar. And then for the fruit filling, we've got mixed frozen berries that have been defrosted. And we've got apples peeled and cut into chunks and some caster sugar. And then we've got a raspberry ripple yogurt. And that is, again, we've got some lovely raspberries and some caster sugar and some plant-based yogurt. So the cost for this is 49p per portion, 5.7 grams of fibre, 6 grams of protein, 1.7 grams of saturated fat. Other nutritional facts for you: it's low in salt, it contains omega-3, which is obviously all important, calcium, iron, zinc, iodine, vitamin B12 and vitamin D, and allergens, gluten and soya, and it has low carbon emissions. And that makes it sound quite serious, doesn't it, when you read it out like that? But actually, this is a lovely dessert, and it's one of my favourites. And the good thing about this dessert is you can actually choose different berries. So you can use frozen berries, or you can use fresh berries as well. So I've just got some mixed berries here, which I hope you can see. Oh, they were frozen, but I've just let them defrost. They've got that lovely little bit of juice at the bottom. And I'm just going to add in one apple, but in the recipe, obviously, you can add in more, but time-wise, you don't need to see me peel a bunch of apples. And I think it's always nice to add fresh fruit to a dessert, because you're getting all the benefits of that lovely fruit, and it just gives it a little bit of different texture. And the berries, of course, really good for you. You don't really think of desserts being good for you, but when we designed these ones, we did think of the nutritional value of every single dessert. And we also thought of they comply with school food standards, obviously. But this desserts, in fact, all of them are pretty much what you'd have as an adult. It's not, yes, they're designed for children and specifically in primary schools. But yeah, I mean, I have these desserts. It's not like I'm not going to eat them. they're very good, and of course, you can adapt them. So I'm just going to chop up my apple. And again, if you don't want to add the fresh apple, you don't have to. If you think, no, I just want to use the frozen berries because it's quicker, easier, that's absolutely fine. And if you've got compost in the garden, you can add your core to it, of course. No waste, zero waste. And chop that up, chop it in. Roughly chopping, you don't have to do fancy knife work or anything, just quick and easy. In it goes. And all the measurements are in the brochures as well, so that's handy. Everything's done for you. It's portioned for 10, so you can 10 primary school children, so you can go up or down, double it, however you want. So I'm just going to mix that around. And with all those different berries, you just got those lovely colours. So nice. And it's handy that it is frozen berries, because you can just have them low storage, low waste. You only use what you need.
Looks very autumnal.
Yes, perfect
for now.
Yeah, now it's getting colder. So sprinkle in some sugar. And of course you can adapt that even. We've done it so, it's pretty perfect, I have to say. But again, you can have a play around. You can add different things in. So there you go. Nice and easy. You've got an oven-proof dish. You just tip it in. Oh, look at that. It's so pretty. It just looks bright and colourful. I'm trying not to spill it everywhere, but not doing a very good job. Just get rid of this bowl. So again, very simple. All of our recipes, we have, we've thought of you in mind. If you've got a big, busy service, you're feeding like hundreds of children a day, we need the recipes to be efficient. So we've definitely kept that in mind. But it'd be really lovely to hear from you and hear your experiences and what's particularly interested. I think we've got this at the survey or a question somewhere, of your desserts that are working really well at the moment. What sells the most, what's picked the most. Anyway, so in here, I've got some oats. I've got jumbo oats. So really good for you. So good roughage, it's got antioxidants in it, it's good carbohydrate, it's gluten-free, and if your children don't eat oats, or they don't want oats for breakfast because it's maybe too healthy, this is a great way to introduce them into oats and have a positive way to get them to eat more. So in goes the sweetener, some sugar, give that a mix around. And then I'm going to add in some oil. So really lovely, simple ingredients, store-cupboard ingredients, nothing fancy. Your suppliers should be able to get all of these, so you can plan ahead. You're probably working, well, depend what institution you're at. You might be working on your menus for next year, February, or you might just have the one menu. So again, super simple, and I'm just going to pour this on top, try not to spill it everywhere. Oh, there's nothing better, if you ask me. I'll probably say that for every recipe, so well, there's nothing better than. Sorry,
I made this last night I had some friends over for dinner and I needed something quick, and obviously you have to throw a dessert out there when you have people around, don't you, where we don't normally have it. So I made this, but just with the apples, and it literally took me about 15 minutes. I'd never made it before, and it was perfect, and everyone was impressed. Right, so I'm going to get rid of this, and then I'm going to pop this in the oven, and so we should be able to see it coming out of the oven in about 20 minutes. So here goes. Preheated oven. So for the raspberry ripple yogurt, I'm going to show you it now, but I'm not going to actually plate it up now because we need it I'll do that once it's cooked. But I'll just quickly show you it. So we just use a plant-based yogurt, and I think it's really important for the menus in schools and everywhere really to be more inclusive, because you see people do have an option, which is fantastic, or maybe more depending where you are, but things like yogurt and milk tend to, what we've seen in our experience, not to have a plant-based option, whereas plant-based milk is so delicious and it's just creamy and lovely. Anyway, so for the ripple, we've got the raspberries, which I just used some of the berries, and I blitzed them and then, or mashed them, however you want to do it, and then just got rid of the seeds. And then you've got this lovely sauce. I'll show you what we do with that later on. We just make a little raspberry ripple. How do you get rid of the seeds, Lisa? I just put it through a sieve. Okay. Really simple. Yeah. Perfect. Just pushed it through. And if you think, no, I haven't got time to do that, fine. You can
just put it with the yogurt. You can serve it on its own, just in custard, that's absolutely fine. But this is just a really nice touch, and it looks really good, and it doesn't take long at all. Honestly, it takes no time. But it's good to try these recipes at home and then see how you get on with them, and then maybe introduce them to your menus. Okay, so that one is done, tick. So we'll move on to our next menu, our next dessert. So we're going to put it up on the screen for you. And we're actually going to ask you a question as well in a poll. So whilst I get ready, we're just going to pop a question for you. Don't worry, you're not going to get marked, by the way. So we'll get that up on the screen as soon as possible. But we're also going to do the next recipe, which I believe, Colette, correct me if I'm wrong, is the brownie.
I think that's right.
Okie doke, right. So whilst you're answering the question, we're actually going to make one of my favourite desserts, which is a sticky chocolate brownie. Now I'm just going to come around and close the poll because I want to see what it says.
So 57% are serving plant-based desserts already, which is brilliant news. And yeah,
that's excellent.
over half.
So what ones as well, what you're serving. If you could put that in the chat, that would be really nice.
Yeah, pop them in the chat, and then I can read them out to Lisa when she has a second. So
here we go. Sticky chocolate brownie. I don't know why I danced, sorry. With banana and ice cream. And so banana and ice cream is just bananas blitzed up and then frozen, but I will show you. And then for the brownie, we have, which is so delicious. It's plain flour, cocoa powder, baking powder, golden caster sugar, plant-based butter softened, plant-based milk, raw beetroot, cooked black beans, and vanilla extract. So yes, there's a couple of things in here you may or may not be familiar with. Cooking with beetroot, and also baking with black beans. So the black beans kind of replace the walnuts, so they give the texture and a little bit of a crunch. And the beetroot gives a lovely stickiness and a beautiful colour and a sweetness as well. And of course, you've got the added benefit of black beans being the superfood, the super bean. Basically, they're packed, so little vitamin pills, they're packed with goodness. So eat as many as you can. I add them to everything. I add them to stir fries, to curries, to brownies. So cost 19 pence per portion, fibre 2.7, protein 3.8, saturated fat 2 grams, other nutritional facts, low in salt, contains calcium, iron, zinc, iodine, vitamin B12 and vitamin D. And there's a couple of allergens, soya and gluten. Very low carbon emissions. So this is such a lovely recipe, and if you've never tried plant milk or plant butter, I promise you, what I've found in my experience, you just don't taste the difference. But then so I would urge you to try. All you can do is try and then see how you get on. So anyway, in here I've got the sugar and the plant butter, and I've already started creaming it because it can take a little while. So I'm just going to do a little bit more. And ideally, you'd have a stand mixer for this. They're like workhorse of the kitchen. They do all the work for you, and it's really, really handy. So to that, I'm going to add. So this light and fluffy obviously takes a little bit longer than that. I think I'll put my ingredients a little bit far away. So I've got here the plain flour, which I'm going to add in. To that, I'm going to add in the cocoa powder. So it just tastes really chocolatey and lovely. Tip that in. Next up, we're going to add in the beetroot. And what I've done is I've grated the beetroot. Now I've used cooked beetroot. You can actually use raw beetroot, and it's a lot easier to grate when it's uncooked. But I've used cooked. And I add the juice as well. It just gives it that lovely stickiness, I find. And I just love baking with beetroot. It's a really lovely thing to bake with. 100 ml of plant milk. Just going to grab it. In it goes. And what I might do is just grab a tea towel because I don't want it to plume everywhere. So I'm going to just put this down and give it a little stir. Little tip for you, so much easier, especially if you're making buttercream, obviously palm butter, and the icing sugar can go everywhere. So one more thing I haven't added, the eagle-eyed, is I didn't add my raisin agent, so I'm going to put that in. And I'm also going to add in some vanilla extract, about a teaspoon.
Lisa, please asking whether you could use frozen beetroot instead of raw beetroot.
I've never tried, so potentially yes, but I've never tried. I've never tried it with a frozen beetroot. My worry would be that it would cook at a different rate.
Yeah.
So definitely try if that's better. But I would think beetroot's quite easily accessible. You can get it quite easily. It's readily available.
Yeah, you can buy the vac pack stuff, can't you? That's already cooked.
So
you can buy the stuff in the vac packs, and then it's already cooked, and it's makes it easier, and it works perfectly. That's what I've made it with, and it works really well.
Yeah, I agree. So if you may or may not have seen black beans before, I don't know if you see them, they might be a bit too dark, but they're just the lovely beans that I put them in chewy con carne as well. Obviously a plant-based version. So just give that a little whip up. I've lined the brownie tin. I know, I would imagine you will be baking in much bigger trays, but it works equally well. So I'm just going to grab my spatula, or a spatula, and scrape off the excess. So again, really simple. Simple but effective, simple but delicious. And I will show you how we make the banana and ice cream. So, and we've got a few tips for you because we had some feedback. Let me just get rid of this. And I'm just going to stir in the beans. And of course, if you make this at home, you could, oh, it was stuck there, it wasn't. You could obviously add in walnuts, but for the school setting, the black beans are much better. Okay, so I mean, it already looks, can you see it there? I don't know if you can see, but it already looks really gooey and delicious.
I can vouch that the raw mixture is delicious just to eat like that.
It's so good. Yes, I was talking about different types of beans, and as Colette was mentioning, sadly, most of us are lacking fibre, adults and children. So yeah, we need to just really be mindful about eating as many fruit and vegetables as we can, and pulses and beans, and introduce them, if you're not used to that, introducing them slowly into your diet. And before you know it, they're just a staple. In it goes. Pouring that in. It's going to turn it around, so it's quite difficult to do it to the camera. In it goes. And this freezes really well once it's baked. So you could make a huge batch and freeze them, bake them from frozen. Just get this out of the way. And then smoosh it down. And you can just see by the colour of it, and I think the beetroot really helps to give it that chocolatey, because we eat with our eyes. The first thing you do is you look at it, oh, that looks good. I'm just going to scrape off the excess. Again, super quick dessert. 20 minutes, 25 minutes. I like to bring it out a little bit earlier personally, then I let it cool and I put it in the freezer. And then it stays really squidgy. But if it depends on what ovens you're using. Your ovens would be very powerful. Right, my mouth is literally watering. I'm just going to put this one underneath the crumble. Okay. In it goes. Just check my temperature. Right, moving on. So now I think I'm going to show you our next, I'm definitely going to show you our next recipe. So before we show you the next recipe, we're going to do another question. And the question is,
would you like to offer more plant-based dishes? So just a yes or a no. Oh,
I have to just come around and close it. I love knowing the results of the poll. I don't know why, but I do. Oh, it's come up again, so I'm going to
100% yes. I think it's a good idea.
Oh, that's so nice.
That is good.
That's really lovely to hear.
Very positive.
So I believe our next dish is the rice pudding, but I'm going to be told in a moment. It's going to come on your screens. Is that the rice pudding, Colette, that I've is it the creamy rice pudding with fresh berry jam?
Yep, here it is. It's on the screen now.
I thought maybe I put it in the wrong order, but
no.
I was right. So, I mean, me remembering 4 things. Creamy rice pudding with a fresh berry jam. How delicious does that sound? Now, whilst you're having a quick look at that, I'm just going to quickly get rid of some equipment and bring some more up. This is another one. I had it before I was testing these recipes. I hadn't had rice pudding in such a long time, and I've fallen back in love with it because it is so lovely. And when we say creamy, it really is. So I'm out of breath just by lifting a stand mixer. Anyway, so for the rice pudding rice, 200 grams, we've got plant-based milk, we've got agave syrup, and we've got vanilla extract. So lovely, yummy things. And for the fresh berry jam, we've got frozen berries. So again, using a couple of ingredients that you would already have. So we thought about that to make life easier. And then it is also an apple peeled and decored. And then we've got an orange and the orange zest and some agave syrup. So agave syrup, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but agave syrup comes from the agave plant and it consists of fructose and some glucose. It's got carbohydrates, fats, vitamins and minerals in it as well. And I would treat it the same way you would maple syrup or honey. It's a lovely plant-based alternative and it's really quite delicious. So let's start with the rice pudding. It is really, really easy to make. Pudding rice. You're going to add in, actually I'm going to add in the syrup first. And I think we've got a spoon somewhere. And then I'm going to add in the plant milk. Just grab another spoon. In it goes.
Does it matter which kind of plant milk you use?
I've used oat milk, I've used almond milk, and it's always turned out really lovely. So I guess the answer would be, I think it's fine to use the oat milk, the plant milk of your choice.
Perfect.
So I'm giving this a stir. And just getting that all mixed in. Now what I think I might have to do, my dish is quite small, so we'll see how we get on. It might spill. Oh, there we go. And it literally is as simple as that. I'm going to give it another quick stir. And then you just put it in the oven. It's that simple. And I tell you, it is so good. And you think, why did I stop having rice pudding? Because it's so delicious.
Because we had it at school years ago and it was horrible.
Yeah.
We're trying to bring it back.
but it's so worth bringing it back because it is lovely. Right, I'm just going to put this out. I'm not going to open the oven door to put it in yet because of the brownie. So I'm just going to put it over here.
We've got a question, Lisa, from Mitesh, who says, how long would it take in the oven and what temperature?
Good question, Mitesh. Let me just see. It says, because mine's on 200, but let's see what in the so bake in the oven on 150 for 1.5 to 2 hours. So my oven's up a bit higher at the moment because of the brownie and the it's probably a little bit too high, to be honest. But yeah, it doesn't take long to cook, and it just, what happens is, as you well know, it just absorbs all that liquid, and you just got this like thick and creamy rice pudding that is so moreish. And what better thing to go with rice pudding than a fresh berry jam? How lush. So in here, I've got the fresh berries. I'm just going to turn it up. And I've already started cooking them. They've already started to thicken as well. So this is just purely fresh freshly frozen berries, but you can use fresh as well, obviously. Now to that, I'm going to add the agave syrup. And if you didn't have agave syrup, maple syrup would work, even a little bit of golden syrup, just to add some sweetness, because berries can be sharp, so they need something to counteract that. So in that goes. And to that, I'm going to add the zest and juice of an orange. And it just, this is actually reminds me of Christmas. Whenever I zest an orange, I'm always thinking of Christmas. Yes, I said Christmas. But actually this works, obviously we're using berries, so it works all year round. But for me, it's particularly nice in the warmer months. But you can actually have this dish cold, so you don't have to have your rice pudding hot by any means. So it works really nicely chilled as well. And what I love about rice pudding is it's really filling and satisfying. It's not one of those, it's not like a bit of sponge cake where you eat it and you don't know you've had it. You eat some rice pudding and you're like, you feel satisfied. Right, so I'm just going to slice this orange in half. And then turn that heat right up and squeeze that in. Just checking there's no pips. Use the whole orange. And then I'm going to give that a stir. My kitchen's starting to smell very nice. Who wants to come round and share some desserts?
Sounds good.
Yeah. Give that a little stir. And then lastly, I'm just going to add in some apple.
We've just had a question, Lisa, from Christopher. He makes a comment that we're obviously using syrup and golden caster sugar as sweeteners. Can we, oh, it's gone, hang on. Can we confirm, where is it? It's gone, sorry, folks. Can we confirm that normal caster sugar, granulated sugar, is not plant-based? I see a lot of vegan recipes still using them. Interesting. So I've just checked this. So because a lot of refined sugars, like white sugars, to refine them, it uses bone to do it. So technically, if you're looking to be strictly vegan, if you were serving this to a vegan child, for example, you wouldn't use these very refined sugars. You would use golden sugars or the syrups that we're using. So that's a really interesting point. We've never come across that before. I've not come across that, but it's a really good point. So thank you, Christopher.
Excellent point. I had no idea. And it just blows my mind every day when you learn these things. What a way to do it. Is there no other way than bone? I mean, that's because it's a very funny, strange, but I'd have to research that because that's actually the first time I've heard that as well. But we don't use it. in these recipes actually. So
we try and avoid anything that's too refined. So obviously we have got some sweeteners in here, but obviously
yes,
how much we use to try and keep it as healthy as possible.
Exactly, but it has to taste good as well. So when comparatively to, say, a traditional sticky toffee pudding with custard, like a traditional school dessert, this is definitely healthier.
It's moving in the right direction. And it would be great to see loads of fruit and plant-based yogurt and things like that on offer. And
yes,
lots of schools do offer that, but it depends where you're at on the journey, I think, and if you've still got to get children to eat it. So this is a kind of transition, I guess.
That's a very, really good point. And, you know, it's an important transition as well, because you don't want to scare people or put people off for life either, and children and adults. So you want things to be familiar and enjoyable, and so that gives you the confidence to try something else and think, oh yeah, I think I will try that because I really liked the other thing I tried, which I hadn't had before. So yeah, it's definitely about building confidence. So that is bubbling away, and it will juice down and thicken, and then what you're left with once it's chilled is like a thick, berry jam. It's so good. And then, right, apologies, because remember my rice pudding has been cooked and sat for a while, but it's still, so this one's chilled. It's obviously much nicer straight from the oven, but I'm just going to put some of the jam on. Try not to spill too much of it. And there you go. You have a gorgeous, that's quite a big portion. That's for me. You don't judge. That is
that what you normally have at this time of the afternoon?
Yeah, that's my little pick-me-up.
Little snack?
So
that looks like pure comfort in a bowl.
Yes.
We've just had a little comment from Alex, who is just letting us know that apparently beet sugar is always totally vegan. Thank you, Alex, for that little pearl of wisdom. Fabulous.
Right, I'm going to put that over there to cool and thicken. So that's our first fully completed dessert. Obviously the others are baking.
Just to let you know, we have about 16 minutes remaining, so we're good for time.
Okie doke. We'll probably finish a little bit earlier then, because I've got to show you, I'd like to show you the flapjack now, which is so good. And but before I do that, I think we've got a question for you. We've got a poll. So let's have a look at the poll.
Have you used agave syrup before?
Ooh.
Oh, lots of people have.
So come around.
It's a 50-50 split.
Oh wow.
50% have, 50% haven't. Something new to try if you haven't tried it before.
Yeah. So now I'm going to show you, I'm going to bring that up on the screen for you as well. I'm just going to show you, if I can find it, there we go. And this is the Chewy Tropical Flapjack. It's right in front of me the whole time. So plant-based butter, an extra for greasy, soft light brown sugar. Then we've got some golden syrup, some ground cinnamon, some dried figs, some dried pineapple chopped, porridge oats, sunflower seeds. So the cost of this is 20 pence per portion. The fibre is 3.1, the protein is 4.1, saturated fat 2.1. And then we have nutritional facts, contains calcium, iron, zinc, and vitamin B12. I'm just opening my oven just to check on the wall. It's lovely. So allergens, gluten and sulfites. CO2 emissions low, which we like to hear. Now this one's great because you can pre-make it, you can freeze it, you can take this, make it at home, take it on picnics, a little snack. But obviously you can tray bake this really and serve it cold as well. So you can make it before. pre-bake it, I should say. Okay, so I'm going to heat up the butter and the sugar. This is another really super easy one. Now, I have to say, I wouldn't normally put it in this particular tin, but I ran out, so forgive me. Now, with the mixed fruits and nuts and no nuts and seeds, you can mix it up. So we've got figs. I've actually got mango in here as well. So you can just play around. But if you're not confident, just follow the recipe first and then see how you like it. And then you can go from there. So I just want to grab myself another, I've run out of spoons, so just bear with me one moment. I'm just going to have to wash this up quickly. And I think I believe my crumble's ready. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. So let's bring the crumble out, and I can plate that up for you. But what I want to do is get my heat proof. I'll just give this a quick stir. Now, this is so good as well, the flapjack, by the way, because it's like one pot. So I'm going to do everything in the pan. So once I've melted the sugar and the butter, I'm just going to do it all in here. Save on washing up. Right, I'm going to grab the crumble, which again, I've used a small bowl. It should be shallower, so mine's quite thick. But if you use a bigger tray, then it's a lot thinner and obviously goes a lot further. I might ruin my brownie though, that's the only thing. Now, I don't know if you can see, but it's kind of all bubbling up the sides and it smells lovely.
It looks gorgeous, very golden.
Yes. Let me just take this off the heat for a second. I'm going to just check on the brownie. Oh, it's looking really good. So I'm going to plate a bit up for you. Ooh. Ooh. So nice. Some of that lovely crumble. And to that, I'm going to add a little bit of yogurt. I'm trying to do it so you can see. A little bit of plant-based yogurt. Just have to put it down for a second. Yeah, I think you can see it like that anyway. And then we've got the raspberry ripple, which I'm just going to put a few drops on. And then you can use the back of the spoon. Obviously, you don't have to do this, but it's just fun to make it nice and ripply. Let me see if I can show you that up close. So you've got the lovely ripple effect.
I like all the pink.
Yeah,
very good, very pretty,
so lovely, delicious,
and wholesome.
So that's our second dish. Right, so let's carry on with the flapjack. So turn that back up, stir this around. That's melted beautifully, and to that I'm going to add in some. So I'm just checking that it's just butter. Yes, adding some sugar and some cinnamon. Stir. And some oats. So again, we're using the oats, which we know are really good for you. Slowly release energy. And fill you up, makes you satisfied. Going to add in our different fruits. Make a bit of room. Stir that round.
Could you use some different fruits to those ones if you can't get figs or they're not available? I'm just thinking people have lots of difficulties at the moment getting certain ingredients. So
yeah,
What could you use instead if you can't get those?
Well, as I mentioned, I've put mango in mine, dried mango, just because that was available. You could also use raisins and sultanas if you wanted to.
Perfect.
They're usually readily available. Pretty much any dried fruit that you like, pineapple even, dried pineapple. So you can make it, well, this one's tropical, so we've got the tropical vibe going on. So again, please forgive my dish. You wouldn't normally put it in this dish, but I'm going to put it down. And then I'm going to gently press it down. And when you're doing it in a big tray, which is that's what I imagine you're going to be using, we're going to bake this in the oven. When it comes out, when it's warm, I would gently score it so that when it dries, it cools down, it's really easy to break up. So that would go in the oven, but I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's cooled. So let me just move over. And then we've got these lovely, lovely pieces of gorgeous flapjack, which are chewy and sweet, and I've got all these like different fruits in them and seeds as well. I've got sunflower seeds. You could use pumpkin seeds. You can add a whole host of different seeds, and it's just a really lovely way of, again, introducing that kind of food, but in a really gentle way. You know, if you handed maybe a small child a handful of sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, they might be like, I'm not going to eat that, but in a nice chewy tropical flapjack.
We know that we see flapjacks on lots of menus already, so I guess this is just adding a bit more fruit, adding a bit more seeds. Yeah, we know it works, don't we?
And this is the brownie. So I don't know if you can see. Obviously, my brownie's still in the oven, but this one is one I made earlier.
It looks like it's squidgy in the middle. Is it squidgy?
Yes.
Of course it is.
And I'm going to just put a bit of the banana and ice cream on, if I can find. So I didn't actually make the ice cream, so let me show you. Now what we found, or what feedback we've had, if you it can oxidize quite quickly. So by any kind of ice cream, you want to get it in the freezer straight away. And also you want to use a non-metallic, so not aluminium. You want to use a different type of tray. So basically all you're doing is blitzing it in a food processor or mashing it with a potato masher, but it's much quicker in a food processor. And then this is obviously a tiny, tiny amount. And then you've got your lovely frozen banana and ice cream. In fact, let me just grab a plate.
So you could use a plastic container or tray or a glass one, just not metal, ideally not aluminium, because it will make it go a bit grey, won't it? Which doesn't look so appetizing to have grey ice cream.
No, and in fact, my bananas were a little bit overripe, to be honest, but so they're not as bright as they could be, but it still tastes so good. It's absolutely lovely. It's just a really easy way to serve a nice, refreshing ice cream, but without any dairy. It's just pure fruits and no added sugar. It's just really works well.
Amazing.
Especially if your brownie's warm as well, but it works at room temperature, but just there's something about warm brownie and cold ice cream. Yeah, it's a thing of beauty. So let me just move that out of the way. See if you can put that there. So we've got the brownies, we've got the lovely fruit crumble with the raspberry ripple yogurt, we've got the rice pudding and jam, and we've got the brownie with the banana and ice cream. The brownie in the oven, I think, is still baking. It's not quite there yet. But you can mix and match as well. The jam will go well with the brownie. So you don't always have to have that. It's just giving you ideas of what can be achieved adding a little bit something different, maybe introducing new things. And yeah, I mean, I hope you enjoyed the workshop. We would really love to know what's working, what isn't working where you are, what's popular, because looking to 2023, we'd like to maybe recreate some classics, recreate the favorites, so we tweak them so they become plant-based, so that it's not anything unfamiliar on the menu, but just having it in a different way. And that, you know, that would is a nice way to introduce these types of desserts onto the menu. I'd love it if you actually made them yourself at home and sent us some pictures maybe, or if you want any more information about our in-person workshops where we all cook together, and it's a really nice atmosphere, and then we get to eat everything, and there's like loads of food, and it's all from our recipe brochures, which is really, really good as well.
You had a nice comment from Helen, Lisa. She said it all looks delicious, which it obviously does. So thank you.
Thanks, Helen. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you can, do watch the other workshops online. And I think it's the 9th in November. Oh, I can't remember the date now.
23rd of November is
you.
our final workshop for the year. We're not doing any in December because we figured everybody would be busy with Christmas things and getting ready for the new year. So 23rd of December, and we register for that last one. And in the survey that Lisa mentioned at the end, when you leave the webinar, do anything you've got that you want to ask us to do. If you'd like us to cover, just put it all in there, because we're only doing this workshop today specifically about desserts because people keep asking us for desserts. So we decided, right, we'll do one that's dedicated to desserts. So if there's something you'd really like to see, or an ingredient that you're not sure what to do with, just pop it in that survey and we listen, and we'll kind of put that into practice in one of the next workshops. But yeah, if anybody has any more questions, drop us hang on, we've got one more. Let's have a quick look. Christopher says, very grateful for this workshop and the resources you have on offer. Can't wait to dig a little deeper. Thanks, Christopher. That's lovely.
Thank you.
Yeah, get in touch if we can help you in any way. We'd love to. So yeah, we hope it's been useful. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
Thanks all for coming. Bye-bye.